Rev Endurance Sports, and I believe this is episode 4. I've kind of lost track of Just Two Guys Talking. I'm your host, George Vargas, with my co-host, John Howard. Hey,
Hello,
John.
everybody.
And today we have Tommy Southwood with us. Hello, Tommy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you feeling, my man?
I feel great, all considering. How about you?
Yeah. All right. I went for a bike ride today, so that's a good sign. Have
I
you been
wish
on the
I
bike
could.
yet? Have you been on the bike yet?
The the weather's hotter here than it was in Colorado, so
Wait, did
no.
you say hotter?
Yes.
Oh, right.
And
Well,
it was like over 100 in Colorado, like
Yeah, but it was a
104.
dry heat.
all right. So let's set the table. We Today we're going to talk about the Colorado 1200K that Tommy and I did beginning on June 19th, ending on June the 22nd. So that was Sunday. And today, if anyone can tell me, is it the 25th yet? I don't know what
It
today's.
is the 26th.
Look at that. I've been in a time warp for days. So today is the 26th. So we finished on Sunday. Monday, I started driving back. Did you start driving back on Monday, Tommy?
Um, for a couple hours.
Okay. Monday, Tuesday, I was back at the shop. And here we are Thursday. So it's only been a couple of days. And so I would like to talk about the kind of the lead up into it, some of the logistics involved, and then day one, which was for all intent and purposes a debacle.
Hmm.
A debacle with a happy ending, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a tough day for all involved. I think there were like 70 NFs. So
Yeah, and for those of you guys out there who haven't seen the first video where George talked about what him and Tommy went through on that first day, go check it out really quick and then come back. But that'll give a little bit more background on what's
I
going
like
on.
I actually like that idea. So yeah, hit pause on this one, and I will put the video in the description for day one. And maybe by the time I edit this, I might even have day two up there. But yeah, that'll give you some good context to what we're going to talk about because seeing it will make it more of a reality than us talking about it here. So,
Hmm.
dear John. So let's talk about a little bit of the lead in. Tommy lives in Indiana, and in a previous podcast, which gets very little views, so it's prudent to do a refresher because for some folks it's the first time they've heard it. So Tommy lives in Indiana. I live in San Diego. Tommy wanted me to join him at the Colorado 1200K. I I hawed, I zigged, I zagged. I finally signed up. And with, I don't know, less under 2 weeks. And uh, unbelievably, the town of Boulder is literally equidistant for the two of us. It
Yes.
it was 1,100 miles for each of us to get to the meeting point. So
It was meant to be.
you can't plan that any better. Tommy got in a few days early. How many early days were you there?
4, 5,
Right. And so Tommy, being an overachiever, decided to do how many 100Ks while you were out there?
2.
All right.
Oh, so this was several hundred Ks before the 1200K
Yeah, because
because this wasn't enough.
this is what he does. So base altitude was, I guess, around 5,000. So he wanted to work on acclimation and
Mhm.
uh, um, weather acclimation. Now, unfortunately, the weather was pretty cool while you were there, wasn't it?
Yes. It was pleasant.
And
Um,
what temperature is pleasant, Tommy?
Upper 70s, lower 80s.
Okay, yeah, that is nice.
yeah, it's pleasant and dry heat, so it feels even
Yeah.
cooler, right?
Yes. Yeah, I had to wear a sweatshirt.
Well, that's standard issue here in SoCal. Everyone should have a hoodie because as soon as that sun sets, boom, it's cold, cold. Well, I arrived on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Tuesday, launching out on Thursday. So I was there about a day and a half. And the funny thing, we went out on one little ride, and I
You
said to
you
Tom,
didn't do a couple 100K to warm up, George?
no, as a
You-
matter of fact, I was, I think for about a week before heading out, just busy at the shop, whatever. I probably did not ride for about 10 days before I snapped in on Thursday
Mhm.
because I'm of the opinion now, if it's a crit, if it's a road race, yeah, you gotta do a couple of more rides and you do some leg openers right before the race. You go out, you do some sprints, you do 1, 2, 3 minute intervals, do some more sprints, go home, right? Do some leg openers before the actual race. It's 250 miles. You have plenty of time to warm up, right? So there's no need for any of that nonsense. But I was talking to Tommy and I said, Tommy, I think I asked, like, what power meter to use? And your answer was,
I don't.
and I said, why? And tell me why you don't have a power meter.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
I can
Um,
say why I don't have one because they're expensive.
there you go. They're
This is cycling.
expensive.
There's nothing expensive in cycling. Everything's affordable.
Yeah,
Everything.
they're expensive, says the guy who rides Campy, right?
You should have spares. It's no. I I mean, we need to address this elephant in the room. No, power meters are not expensive. People need to stop that. They buy $2,000 of a set of wheels when they should be buying a $500 power meter. You know, I can take a cyclist who, has $1,000 bike and a $500 power meter and make them a faster cyclist than the one with the $10,000 bike and no power meter.
Hmm.
Guaranteed. Like guaranteed. Faster, more efficient, better cyclist. So, yeah, they're not expensive. Tommy, why don't you have a power meter?
They're expensive.
Because traveling to Florida to do a 1200K is not expensive.
No.
Yeah, well, I think part of it also, George, is that you get
Traveling to
the
New
thousand
Jersey,
dollar.
traveling to New Jersey to do a 1200K is not expensive.
Nope.
Where is the other, where is the other one? Traveling to North Carolina,
Virginia,
1200K.
North Carolina,
Yeah, with hotels everywhere. That's
yep,
not expensive.
Colorado.
You know what I mean? It's where you prioritize things, right? That's
Yep.
all it is. It's a prioritization of, am I going to buy a new Garmin da 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 da, or am I going to buy a power meter?
Yeah, well, I think part of it, George, is that the power meter isn't something that you necessarily reap the benefit of immediately. With new wheels, you feel that right away. With
I disagree.
new other stuff,
I
you feel it
disagree.
right away.
I
It's like an
disagree.
instant gratification.
I disagree.
Really?
I
See, I don't have a
disagree.
power meter, so I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I disagree 100%. Actually, if I could
Yeah,
disagree 1,000%, yes, I would disagree 1,000%.
fair enough. I mean, I have no experience, so I cannot dispute you.
It is the most important thing you have on your bike.
That
I
part
think
I might
lack of
disagree with. But I would say
yeah,
bike fit.
The most important thing. I didn't say you know, you're talking, yeah, bike fit's not thing like
Mm-hmm.
pedals, wheels, all
Mm,
that
okay,
other
piece of
stuff,
equipment. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
component. It's the most important thing you have in a bike. You have to have wheels anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But why spend $2,000 on wheels when you can buy inexpensive wheels and have a power meter? The power meter is the most important thing on that bike, period. When you come down, I'll put you on a bike with a power meter and you will see why it is so.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now back to this. I take my pedals, my power meter pedals, put them on Tommy's bike, swap pedals. We go out for a ride. And we're going up like a 1-2% grade. And I also synced up with his computer, or he synced up the pedals to his computer. And we're going up this little hill, and I'm telling him, hey, look, this is what it's reading, this is what it's doing. Okay, run it up to about 3 watts per kilo, because this is where I race at all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we were literally both winded. But at that point, he could see, he was like seeing what he was doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
This becomes vitally important later. And this is why I'm telling you that a power meter is the most important thing on your bike. I bet that every time you ride with people, now, granted, if it's a 20-mile ride, it's not going to matter. Burn 1,000 matches because it's only 20 miles, and then you're going to stop for coffee, and then it's another 20 miles home. So what's the big deal there? But when you're on a 250-mile day and you see the ridiculous things that other cyclists are doing, I mean, Tommy, how many times did we see the whole pack roll up the road every time there was a roller, 3, 4, 5%, and they're just taking off
Every time.
every time. And I'm looking at my power meter and I'm like, no, Tommy, let them go. No, Tommy, let them go. We are going to stay at this power. Pacing. That's one of the most important things a power meter can do is proper pacing. Period. Obviously at a threshold effort, obviously at an anaerobic threshold effort, also pacing. But in this case, we're pacing to bring the throttle back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole idea. And the concept I was trying to instill in Tommy was to flatten out the course. Flatten it out. So you don't have a power meter, so I'm going to explain to you what that feels like. When that hill goes like this and you bring the power back down, it feels like this. Because you're not putting out the power that everyone else is doing when the hill is this.
Mm-hmm. Everybody else is probably trying to get that PR.
They're going up a 5% grade. You bring the power down, you're basically only doing a 2% grade. Because you're bringing the power down, you're looking at it and you're like, well, they're doing 3.5, 4, 5 watts per kilo, and I'm only going to do 2.
Mm-hmm.
That hill is inconsequential now. It's like it's not even there. Right, Tommy?
Yep.
I mean, don't just agree with me to agree with me. I mean, tell me what you were feeling when I kept telling you, slow down.
You had to tell me every hill, it seemed like, because instinct for me was to kick it up a little bit and try to push up the hill quicker.
Why?
Because I don't have a power meter, so I'm not
No,
watching
no, I mean,
it.
don't rely on that. No, seriously. Why? Why is that your instinct?
That's a good question. I think it's riding with these group of riders, and it's such a common practice. Maybe I get sucked in doing the same thing.
Yeah, power meter. It allows you to ride your race.
Yeah, I want to say, George, when I'm doing some of these Grand Fondos and I see somebody in front of me, maybe it's just that competitive spirit of like, oh, I can catch him. And unfortunately, there's always going to be somebody in front of them. And so you're just burning yourself out for no reason.
Yeah. So now, what would happen after they crested that roller?
They'd coast down the other side. Stop pedaling and just coast.
And we would pass them every single time, right?
Yep.
We did no effort on the uphill, none. Me, 100 to 150 watts max, which is like a little bit over 2 watts per kilo. And we go crest, pedal, pedal, continuing to pedal, start pedaling down the other side. They're coasting. We're passing them doing 80 watts.
Mm-hmm.
We're flattening the course out, right? Now it's like, 2% when we went up, and now when we're going down, we're still pedaling and we're passing all these people every time. So
I
why
gotta
can't
say, George, you're selling me right now.
I should be? Because it's common sense. Why
Hmm.
work harder than you have to? The Not the primary, but one of the it's like a 2A. One Number one is finishing an ultra. That's the primary objective. But two or 2A is using the least amount of energy to accomplish the same task of finishing that ultra.
Hmm.
Using the least amount of energy, which means, being as arrow as you can, which means not burning matches, which means, whatever it takes to use the least amount of energy. When you see me complete an ultra, when you look at my average watts, you should see a really low wattage number. Not, wow, he did 200 watts average for the whole day. The lowest amount, because that means I drafted. That means I, was more arrow. I didn't sit straight up like this, like all ultra cyclists do. I didn't have a whole bunch of baggy clothing, rattling, I didn't have my chin straps all like that. I did everything that I could. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Hmm.
I'm out
Yes.
there all the time.
Yeah, because I had my jersey like that
Yeah.
because
So,
it was so hot.
right. But I mean, you only saw me doing that when we were climbing a mountain. And
Yep.
at 4 miles per hour, there's no aero advantage, whether I'm zipped or unzipped. I'm cooking. So I need yeah. So anyway, I'll keep beating people up on power meters because you need to have one. It is essential. It's like get one, period. There's no reason to ever ride without one. These things used to be $3,500 years ago. Now they're like four. I mean, sometimes when stages would do their closeouts, they were $250. It's nothing, literally nothing compared to the amount of excess that we spend stupid money on for bike
To
stuff,
save 30 grams.
30 grams. I mean, I'd rather you have a heavier bike with a power meter than a lighter bike without one. That's how important a power meter is, period. There is no discussion. It is the most important thing you can have on your bike. Anyway, so that was, I believe, illuminating for Tommy that, oh wow, yeah, okay, power, okay, we're on this grade. All right, anyway, so
I'm getting one.
yeah, you are.
Yep.
Come hook or crook, you're getting one, period. You must have one. So, but this is the thing that Tommy would do. If I didn't say anything, he's and then he'd crest, and then he's like, "What?
Superman coming down. Just
Yeah.
Oh, you were completely winded.
Hmm.
yep.
You were completely winded, and you couldn't pedal on the other side of the hill."
Yeah, I get winded before we even crest.
But that's the thing. You don't want to be.
Hmm.
You don't
Hmm.
want to be. You know, you want to crack on your own terms, not someone else's terms, right? You don't crack because you're chasing someone's wheel. You crack because you wanted to crack and you
Hmm.
held, 6 watts per kilo on this roller. Okay. You cracked because you wanted to crack, not because you're chasing a wheel. You ride to your numbers, period. Um, Anyway, so that was that was an interesting little exercise, and then we saw it happen over and over every day.
Oh,
And we would just catch people on either climbs or on the descents or whatever. So that was kind of the first day of the pre-event day. Had a little cookout and stuff like that. Now here was the challenge. The morning of day one, or the ride was starting at 4 a.m. Now Tommy's kind of, 2 hours ahead of the time zone. I'm 1 hour behind. So, you know, 4 a.m. is my 3 a.m., but going to bed at, 8 o'clock is like 7 o'clock.
hmm.
It's broad daylight out. We're 2 days from the summer solstice, so it's broad daylight at 7 p.m. It was impossible to get to sleep. Did you sleep any that night, Tom?
No, not well.
Yeah, I can barely see your chin. Drop the computer down a little bit. Or yeah, yeah, thank you. 2:30 wake up.
Ooh.
2:30 wake up, and we got to line up by, what was it, 3:45 or 3:30 or something?
3:45. Yep.
45,
So, George, part of that 2:30 wake up, is there a meal, a pre-race meal that you're trying to fit in there at all?
Yeah, well, that's a good question because you're in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
There is no there is no breakfast service. So you have to pack food for your breakfast and your dinner when you get back off of your nine
Mm-hmm.
plus hours on the bike, because nothing's going to be open at midnight either when you get back. Tommy, what were you having for breakfast?
Some lousy food I picked up at the grocery store. Frozen. Threw
No,
it in
no,
the microwave.
breakfast. Breakfast.
Oh, breakfast. Um, God, what I have? Oatmeal.
Yeah. Oatmeal's terrible for you. Any type of grains or cereals or any of that stuff, it's just terrible for you. And especially those packaged ones, because they're high in sugar and all that stuff. And so that's not good. But you got to eat something, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, right? Here's what I do. I take 2 scoops of Rev Energy, I put it in my coffee, and that's my breakfast because that's 200 calories. How much was your oatmeal?
Probably about the same for calories.
And much better for you and better digestion as well. In the past, I've taken to the hotel maybe some, those Uncle Ben's rice bags, some honey and some salt, and just kind of and butter, and just kind of made a carb breakfast because, I mean, if I was home, I'd put eggs in it for protein, but
Hmm.
I've done that before. But yeah, now I just put Rev Energy in my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So much easier to digest and get on the bike. But here's the other thing. We all wanted to take care of business before getting on the bike for 15, 16, 18 hours because no one wants to go in a porta potty out on the road at a construction site or something, right? So you want to take care of that business before you get on the bike. And our bodies are all jacked up. We're out of time zones, we're out of sync.
Yep.
And Tommy, was like, we I'm not getting on a bike until I go. I'm like, well, we got to get on the bike, So that was always a morning dilemma, you know. Um, and what happens is you get so dehydrated that, you get constipated.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was so hot and because we were getting back late and getting on the bike, 3, 4, 5 hours at the most later, you didn't have enough time to rehydrate. And so you got even more constipated and so on and so forth. Now, Tommy and I only had Rev Energy on the bike the whole time.
Hmm.
That's all we had while we were riding. I can't imagine what it was like for all these other people who were sitting down to solid meals multiple times during the 250 miles. Like literally eating a burrito while riding or
It was so hot I couldn't imagine eating and begin with.
yeah, sandwiches and I mean I had some combos. This is day one. I had some combos that I probably ate over a 3 hour period. Like, I just would pick a couple here and there just to kind of mix up the flavor of what I was drinking, my energy drink. And then I had a Danish like, I don't know, 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, just because. I'm like, well, okay. But all my fuel came from my energy powder.
Hmm.
Tommy?
Um, Same. I don't think I had. No, I had chocolate milk at one time. At
Yeah,
one of the controls, I
it's
grabbed
liquid
some chocolate
calories.
milk.
Yeah, it's liquid calories. It wasn't a meal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
that was like that's it.
yeah.
And so does your stomach kind of crave solid food, or is the liquid energy drink enough to satiate your hunger, I guess?
I never crave solid food while I'm exercising or doing an event like that. Um, when I'm not, yes,
Hmm.
but I definitely think, because I'm getting enough calories, I don't have that urge to eat solid food. But I've noticed that when I did eat solid food, it would just sit in my stomach and I would get so bloated and it wasn't getting digested. And then
Hmm.
I would end up bonking because whatever solid food I ate for energy was just sitting there.
Hmm.
Yeah, and in this heat, you're not going to digest that food.
No.
Your body has to think about a couple of things or has to make the decision. Well, do I digest or do I shunt the blood and send it out? Because, it needs to send it out to your skin and other places to kind of cool off and, all your other extremities, right? And and it needs to power your primary muscles, the legs to push the pedals. So what's going to happen to the food in your stomach? It's the same old thing. Your body prioritizes things saying, well, I got to run from this saber-toothed tiger. So, whatever food you got in your stomach, that'll wait.
Hmm. Let's put that on hold.
Yes, hold please. As you run away from the saber-toothed tiger. Uh, yeah, here we are, 4 a.m. start. We roll out, everything's great. I'm seeing these people doing all this silliness, catching them again. I decide that I want to do a pace line because I'm like, look, we're riding like a bunch of cats. Let's herd them and let's do something efficient.
George organizes the Peloton.
So I organize a pace line and people are falling off the back, and I'm like, I'm barely pedaling, like literally barely pedaling. And so I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. But we got rid of some people that were just hanging on or weren't doing anything. And we get further on down the course. Now we're alone, Tommy and I. I mean, we basically were alone almost all day, every day. But I guess the first 30-ish miles we were with those folks, and then after that we were basically alone. But it was just funny to see how people were riding and how inefficient I thought they were riding. For them, that's perfect. That's how they ride. And of course, that makes sense for them. And they do that, and that's how they get through these things. But for me, that is inefficient, right?
Yeah, we all can't be Peter Sagan.
I used so little energy to get through the course, like as little as possible to get through the course. And, I felt great. But now we're at about 140 something miles into it, and Tommy starts to break down on me. You want to tell the story, Tommy?
I got overheated. I could not drink enough to stay hydrated. And the first sign was I got a leg cramp. And as soon as that hit, and I knew I was getting dehydrated. Um, but that was a snowball effect. One thing after the other. Golly.
I mean, you've had days to think about this. What you have to have this analysis because you don't want this to happen to you again.
Yeah, and what got me was the amount that I was drinking, staying hydrated beyond the fuel, and it still wasn't enough. And it had to be because it was hot, dry heat, altitude. And I think all of that just combined um, affected me worse than I have ever been affected on a 1200 before. And I was literally either I had heat exhaustion or I was just on the verge of having heat exhaustion.
Oh no, you had heat exhaustion, and you were showing symptoms of heat stroke, which include slurred speech, some of these other. You already had some of those symptoms. Jess and I looked it up.
I knew she would.
Yeah, there's these blocks here that you checked every block, and then in the next tranche was the heat stroke, and you were checking some of those.
Yeah, the falling over on the bike while it's still clipped in was probably on that last block. The dead bug.
Yeah. And I tried to record as much as possible about this because you I want to care for you and I want to pick you up off the ground and do all that stuff. And of course, I want to capture the drama of you crashing, it's a slow speed tip over. But
Is
I'm
that
like,
why when you videotaped me when I was laying on the ground, you're like, do that over again? I missed it.
so I didn't get the money shot of him laying on the ground like this. But I I instantly thought of his safety because we're on a road and a car could come and I'm sure they're not expecting a cyclist riding at 100-degree heat. They're like,
And laying in the middle of the road at
"Hey,
that.
you can do it." So yeah, got him out and then I started recording. But yeah, you were slurring your speech and things like that. And we were still 6 miles from any water.
Horse tooth.
That's right. And prior to that, you had been walking. I'm looking at
Trying to get that. Yep.
the
Mhm,
timestamps at the videos, and you were walking before that for a while too.
Trying to get that cramp out of the work that cramp out.
Are
mhm.
you someone that cramps?
Not regularly. I have a couple of times in, high heat.
I have cramped in the past. I didn't cramp at all these 4 days, and I didn't take any electrolytes, like just if something I was drinking or eating had it, sodium, then I had it. But I mean, I literally had a bottle, one of those pill bottles, like a sleeping pill bottle filled with kosher Redmond sea salt, a kosher version, but I never used it. I never even opened it. I mean, I was fine. It was hot, yes, but I'm just saying I didn't feel any effects. Now you had liter bottles on your bike and you were chugging them down like they were Dixie cups.
I know.
Dixie cups
And
will give
and
you a
That's what I mean. I was drinking so damn much and still wasn't enough.
yeah, and Tommy, as you're drinking this massive amount of water, did you have to pee at all? I
Well,
mean,
that's
or was
what.
it just sweating out?
No, it wasn't sweating out because it was so dry. um, it was evaporating out, I guess you could
Hmm.
say. But you, George and I talked about that because I told him that I noticed that my pee was dark,
Hmm.
and I do remember telling him with the amount that I was drinking, I can't believe I have not peed that much yet.
Hmm.
I
Man.
also told George anything above 70 degrees is hot for me, so that's maybe I'm just not made for that warm weather.
So we get him to the 148-mile control, about 90 miles to go or whatever, 95 miles to go. And, I have him lay out on a picnic table in the shade and put a wet jersey on top of him. And has Joanna seen that video yet?
No,
Are you keeping it from her?
maybe.
Yeah, the ride was fine, honey. No problems.
That's exactly what I told her.
Would you be in the doghouse if she saw that video?
Yes. Yep. Hopefully she won't see it.
That was another Tommy. He's got
Yeah.
another friend.
Yeah, but that was about 2 hours of crisis management. So I wanted to show you what Tommy was drinking. This is what I mean by liter bottles.
I had two of the further.
Two of these on
That's
the
what I
bike.
was drinking.
And
Hmm.
actually, we haven't talked about this yet. At about mile 160 something, we went off course to get Tommy
Mm.
a hydration pack because he was just sucking down fluids like there was no tomorrow. Like there was no tomorrow.
That was my that became my favorite thing for the event was that hydration pack.
And really, it was just a way to carry more fluids, right? It wasn't necessarily you wanted a Camelback because you like I guess the way it feels on you versus a
Oh,
bottle or anything.
I hate wearing a backpack or
Hmm.
something on the bicycle. But yeah, it was
Hmm.
a way to carry more fluids. And then I found I don't know if it's psychological, but just putting ice in it and not
Mm.
necessarily chugging down ice water, but just having that ice cold water in my mouth to kind of cool off seemed to help me feel
Hmm.
better through that heat.
And did you feel any ice through
Very
the
little,
Camelback, right? Oh, okay. So it's
very
not that
little.
much of an effect. I
Yeah.
was assuming like it would have almost been like a cooling vest with this ice pack on your back.
I felt it when I put it on. Like as soon as I filled it up, put it on. Yeah, I could feel that ice. As soon as I get out on the bicycle and start moving, it was so damn hot that it was you couldn't feel it.
Ah.
Yeah, sometimes with these things, it's whatever it takes, to get through. Over the many, the over 2 decades of doing ultras, I've trained myself to not have any nice things. Just don't have it. Just don't get used to having it. Don't train with it because then you're all fucked in the head when you don't have it.
But what would be an example of a nice thing, George?
Ice.
Ice? Hmm.
Well, as I say, I've never trained or ridden with ice.
Hmm.
It was just yeah, I never have it. I think just this moment, I just wanted something to cool off.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I've ridden with people that every time we stop, they've got to fill up the ice with the bottles and all this stuff, and I'm sitting outside waiting to go. Like, you know, give me a sink, give me a freaking well pump, give me something. I got water.
Cattle trough.
I'm off. You know? All of that is time wasted. Like here's something else that I would see. Every time these people would stop. Helmets off, shoes off. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. Tommy was doing the same thing, helmet off, and I'm like, I'm like, what are you doing? We gotta go. That's more shit you gotta put on before we roll again. Again, I just dispense with all that nice stuff. Like, oh, it would feel nice to take my helmet off right now because I've been wearing it for 6 hours, 8 hours, 14 hours, Just don't get used to it. Just leave it on. It sucks. You can take it off, then you got to dread putting it back on. So just leave it on. Like, don't take it off in the first place, right?
Have
Shoes,
you cleaned your helmet yet?
I'll disinfect it later. I mean, same thing with shoes. Your feet hurt. Why are you going to take your shoes off? Now you got to dread putting your feet back in the shoes that are hurting your feet. Just let it keep hurting and just go, you know? Like, just, I just,
Yeah. I,
that, what?
oh, I was gonna say, I will say from my hockey playing days, sometimes we would have two games with maybe an hour in between or something like that. Once you get the sweaty gear on, yeah, when you take it off and you put back cold sweaty gear, it's
Mm.
just yeah. Yeah, some people they don't care, but I no, I just like you said, leave it on and just everything stays the same.
Yeah, go to the next game, right? Let me address a couple of things. So I have a long list. There's probably 50 of these little sayings that I have. And at some point I thought about writing a book and each one of those would be a chapter. And maybe I will. But these are all these little sayings that I have. And I introduced Tommy to a couple of them. One of them a few years back. Can you let's see how your memory recall is after a traumatic event. The fog of war when you were given the instructions and now we're back at main side.
I
Tell me
know where
one
you're going.
tell me one you remember.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Don't do anything in the first hour you can't do in the last hour.
Yes, that's my boy. Does this make sense to you, Johnny? Tommy?
Yeah.
Mm, Tommy? John, does this make sense to you? So here's what happens. I would take people out on a 6 hour training ride, 7 hour training ride, and we're about to do 10,000 feet that day. And these people are, and up
Hmm.
and over this roller and that roller and that roller. And I'm looking at it like, really? Of course, I'm looking at my power meter, watching them do this, you know. And then I would, on hour 7 of the ride, I'd roll up next to them and I'd say, don't do anything in the first hour you can't do in this last hour as I drop them. Because they burned all their matches early
Hmm.
part of the day and now they got nothing, right? The goal is to always finish strong. It's all relative, but to finish strong, not just limp in, not just like, oh, I made it, you know? I mean, how did we finish every day or every
Strong.
night? Right?
Yeah, every night. I think we finished strong every night.
Every night. I mean, even the last day, the last climb of the day, I mean, the last climb of the whole ride. Where was I? Tommy, where was I?
Um, I dropped your ass way back. I couldn't remember.
Where was I, Tommy?
Riding strong up there.
Up the road.
Yep.
Up the road. Because I thought I saw someone coming and I didn't want to get caught.
I I remember.
I didn't want to get caught. So I freaking was motoring up this one climb and I look behind me and Tommy's not there. He's like, a football field back. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, because I was watching the power meter.
I
Hmm.
do.
Nice.
The one in your imagination, the one that's still sitting at the store shelf. All right, so that's one of my sayings. One of my other sayings is beware of the chair.
Beware of the what?
Beware of the chair. You know, like
Okay.
a chair you sit in. In other words, don't sit down.
Hmm. I think you've mentioned this in one of your previous videos where you were doing a ride, and I think Jess was supporting you on that one, where
Yeah,
you'd see people just sit down and relax and
I
yeah.
never sit down. Never. I mean, if I'm sitting around waiting for people, I may sit down. But if I'm on my time, um, I'm on my SAG time frames. I get in, I get my shit, and I get out. And I'm on the road. And usually I pee before the town. I pee before the aid station,
Hmm.
control, or anything. Because those are usually in a town. So you don't want to be out there indecent exposing yourself, right? So I do it before I get into town. That way, when I
That,
go in, right? How many times
yeah,
have you do
you're not
that?
waiting on 20 people in front of you.
You're not waiting on 20 people at that one porta potty because a lot of
Hmm.
the double centuries I do, they're very low key. So there's going to be one porta potty at an aid station and there's going to be 20 riders going in. I'm not doing that. So I pee outside of town, pull into the aid station, grab my stuff, and I grab my stuff. I don't eat it there. I grab my stuff and I go, shove it in my jersey, and I'm back on the bike and I'm rolling. And then I pick at it, but I'm on the bike pedaling. And I make time on people, not because I'm a fast cyclist, but because I'm very efficient.
Hmm.
I ride super low power, very efficient. My stops are really, really slow. And going back to this, I don't sit in a chair. The other thing I was trying to teach Tommy was when he was going up a roller, I was telling him to think about, and then what? Right? And then what? So if you're hammering up this roller, and then what?
Hmm.
What are
And
you
then
Then
going to
you
do?
coast
you
down
crest
on
the
the
top
other
and you
side.
coast.
Right? So if you're going to do that, then there's no point in hammering up the roller, right? I mean, you have
Hmm.
to have a plan for everything that you're doing. You're doing 250 miles, so you have to have a plan for everything that you're doing. I mean, you're doing 750, but today you're only doing 250.
Hmm.
So if you're going up this roller and you are looking at your power meter and the wattage is going up and you're like, okay, and then what? Right? Because 30 seconds from now or a minute from now, I'm going to blow up.
Hmm.
And then what?
Yeah, and then you get the polka dot jersey, maybe? No?
And then you're going to get passed by everybody else.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, okay. So let me back off on the power. I'm going to crest. I'm going to be fine, right? I climbed it at 3 watts per kilo. Now I can go down the other side at 2 watts per kilo and pass everybody that dropped me. They didn't drop me. That's the pace I wanted to go. I could have,
Hmm.
you know, I could have hung at the pace that they were riding, but I was just like, that's stupid. Not going to do that. So there's that one. This one can take all night, but we'll try to address it kind of over the surface. Do you know what one of your best limiters is, John? When you're riding, let's just say you're going up a hill.
I'm going up a hill.
Your
The
best effort limiters. It's built in. You have it.
Ooh,
No
probably losing
problem.
my breath.
What is it?
Losing my breath. Running out of not being able to breathe and keep up. Yeah.
You're on the right track. You're on the right track. Tommy? Tommy?
um, Mine would be the heart.
Yeah. Well, besides that. But what is the limiter that I have given you on that, all this the 4 days of this ride? What was that limiter I gave you?
Other than what, pacing?
For your pacing, what would be a limiter? What would because you didn't have a power meter, so I told you to do something else. Do you remember?
Um, oh, well, I started whistling when I got to the top of the hill. So if I could whistle,
He remembered this story I told him about this guy who used to just antagonize us at the top of a hill. He'd just start whistling. No, nose breathing, Tommy.
Mm.
Nose breathing.
yep.
And explain what I meant by that.
Well, if you're breathing through your mouth, you push too hard going up that hill.
Go on.
Oh, I thought it was as simple as that. No,
It can be as simple as
because
that.
if I'm breathing too hard, I'm breathing through my mouth, so I push too hard.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to breathe through my nose going up that hill, and that should keep me at the lower power level output I need to be.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's not as eloquent as I would put it, but yeah. So so basically what I'm saying is you're going up a hill. You should be nose breathing up that hill because you're doing an ultra, by the way. If you're riding with your club and it's a 20-mile club ride, burn every match on the planet, right? Because you don't want to get dropped. But you're on an ultra. So close your freaking mouth because your nose is for breathing and your mouth is for eating. Your mouth is not for breathing on the bike. It's very inefficient. You don't get any nitrates because that's what you get through your nose. So nose breathe. And especially when you're climbing and you don't have a power meter, but even if you did have a power meter, you still, what's up, baby? What's up? What's
Hi,
up?
Jess.
No, it's my other baby.
Oh, other baby.
It's my son. So, yeah, nose breathe because once you start getting to the point where you cannot breathe through your nose anymore, you're going too hard. You're going too hard. I mean, we all have this old thing about conversational pace. You're
hmm
riding and your conversational pace that could be like zone two type of thing. If it's a little bit labored, just a little bit, you're reaching the top of zone two and whatever. That gets all fucking complicated. Look, you breathe through your nose, your mouth is closed. At the point where you can't keep breathing through your nose, well, you're going too hard, right? If you have to open up your mouth because you can't, now it depends how long you've been doing it. Because I can ride mouth closed, nose breathe at 175 heart rate, you know? But that's because I've been doing it a long time. And that's the thing. You have to do it. You have to work at it, right? Riding a bike isn't just pedaling the bike. That's what a triathlete might think. Because while I gotta swim and I gotta run. I just gotta ride the bike in the middle. There's a whole technique to riding a bike, to being efficient, to being, you know, build up that mitochondria, to do all that other stuff. You have to ride a certain way, certain zones, certain things to perform well. And one of them is nose breathing. You have to be able to do it. Now, some of you might say, oh, but my nose is clogged. I can't breathe. Well, that's because you have to start the effort with your mouth closed. Don't get into the effort and be like, oh, I should be nose breathing. Your nose is already clogged, right? You'll have to wait till the next roller, right? And then start at the bottom of that roller, mouth closed, heart rate's down, 120, 130 beats, and then, and then breathe through your. I mean, all day long, I see people riding along with their mouth agape. I'm like, what are you doing? Close your mouth. Are you eating something right now? No, close your mouth, you know? So there's that one.
Take some of
Yeah.
that
And
KT tape.
George, while you're talking about nose breathing,
Yes.
For me, when I find that if I breathe very heavily through my mouth, it dries up my mouth instantly. My mouth, my throat, everything gets dry, and then now I'm looking for the water to quench it to fix that problem. And I'm assuming that nose breathing will kind of take care of that. Is that is that right?
Yeah. What was the analogy I gave you, Tommy, when I told you that because of this heat, it would be better for you to nose breathe because what? Do you remember what we were talking about?
Well, because you're exhaling all the moisture,
Hmm.
like breathing on a mirror.
Breathing on the mirror. Thank you, Tommy. I love that you remembered some of these things. Think about, when you talk about, is that person alive? They put a mirror in, and it fogs it up. This is what happens every time you exhale through your mouth. You're right, John. You get all this moisture is leaving your body. That moisture came from somewhere,
Hmm.
came from your blood plasma, whatever, who knows, the gaseous exchanges and all that stuff and whatever. And then you're exhaling this moisture. So you're absolutely spot on. Yes, that dehydrates you even more. And then, like you said, you drink to solve that problem.
Hmm.
Now you're drinking more water to solve one problem, but in fact, you probably wouldn't have had that problem had you been breathing through your nose. And it's 100 degrees out. So, how many times do you want to stop for how many extra times you want to stop for water? Because that's the thing too. You have these controls, and sometimes we were stopping before the control,
Hmm.
Yep.
get more water. Time waster. Look, this isn't about racing it. You know what this is? It's about getting back to the hotel to start your recovery for the next day.
Yes.
So all that lollygagging around and sitting down and eating meals and all that other stuff, and
It's sleep time that you're wasting.
it is sleep time that you're wasting. This isn't a one and done. You got 3 more days after after that 250. And so this is like, the first hour or two when we were with the big group and I mean, I was barely pedaling. If we look at my power, my power data, I mean, I was pedaling like every 5 minutes, it seemed, right? Exaggeration, but you get the idea. It was just like I was barely pedaling. And I was like, well, that's great. I'm saving a lot of energy, but we could be going a lot faster. So that's why I organized the baseline to get people moving.
Hmm.
Get moving. There's someone sitting up there for 20 minutes. Rotate them through 30 seconds and let's pick up the pace and let's just get down the road. We got to get back to the hotel and start recovering. And this is what ended up happening. Every night we got back later and we would start later the next day. Like we wanted to start at daybreak to spend more time riding without the sun
Hmm.
down on us. So the first day, I mean, we wanted to get out by 5:30, but I don't think we got out till 6:30, and then the following day was like 7:30. It was just so much harder every time, to get home, you know, so many hours on the bike. And each day got hotter, by the way.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
Don't know if I mentioned this. So it got hotter and we were starting later, so we were starting
That's a good recipe.
in about 2 hours, it was already 80 plus degrees. You know,
Hmm.
8, 9 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'd look at Tommy, I'm like, how is it so hot already?
I know.
Uh, I mean, I think it was day two when we climbed up to that Meeker thing.
Yes.
I was just like, man, it is hot. And so we pulled over and found a shade tree,
I
shades.
think that was the hottest day.
Yeah, it could have been. And one of the locals, you know, was behind us, and he's like, "Oh, there's only like a quarter mile left of the climb," and it's like, oh. And I've already got my my helmet off, my jersey off. I'm facing down the mountain because that we had a tailwind, so I'm facing
Yep.
Mhm.
down the mountain to get some air on me to cool off and I'm like, well, I'm not getting suited up right now. I'm just gonna sit here a little bit. And one of the other strategies that I was using, I mean, I had the hydration pack, I had the 2 bottles on the bike, but I always carry fuel in everything. Fuel in the hydration pack, fuel in the bottles, Rev Energy, of course,
Mhm.
in everything. So whenever I drink, I'm getting fuel. So I'm not going to forego my fueling just to have plain water on the bike. So what I did do is every time that I knew we were about to get into the hottest section of the day or the hottest portion of the route, what did I do, Tommy? Do you remember?
Mm, maybe not.
I was buying two bottles of
Oh, yes.
two 1 liter each, and then I'd put those in the bike, and then I'd put my bike bottles in my back pockets. And now I had, 2 liters and this is the thing too. You're climbing with like 10 extra pounds of water that you would never do on a club ride, right? 2.5 liters here or 2 liters here, then 2 liters there. It's just all this water. And then once we got past that, 3, 4 hour window of the hottest part of the day, then chuck the bottles. I'm done, you know? And then I'm back to just my standard issue stuff, the 2 bike bottles and the hydration pack. And in fact, day 3 and day 4, I had powder in my bike bottles that I never reconstituted. I never ended up using them day 3 and day 4. I just used the hydration pack. I was fine. There was just not enough. That I didn't need that much fluids anymore. So, but Tommy was still.
Chugging away.
Tommy would have had the last gallon on earth if he.
I think I was still chugging away for a couple of days afterwards
Oh
too.
no. Oh yeah, for sure. I was too. On the drive home, I was like, oh God, I don't want to keep pulling over to have to go to the bathroom. But I mean, we needed to rehydrate from 4 days of abuse. Yeah, I mean, it was just bad. It was the thing is when someone says, "Oh yeah, it was hot here too." Yeah, but did you ride for sun up to sun down
hmm
in that heat?
Past,
And then do it
oh,
again the
that was the
next
thing.
day.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
rode past sundown and it was still hot.
Oh yes. But the
Jeez.
first day for sure, and the second day, I think too, it was like 80 plus degrees at like 9 o'clock at night. And you're like,
Oh.
and then you go through like maybe not a valley, but you go through this like little dip and you come back up and you hit this heat thermal and you're like,
hmm
so hot still, like why? You know, equipment wise, we had some drama, both of us. Remember our Garmin issues, Tommy?
Oh Lord. Yes.
Yeah, we both had Garmin issues. So my Garmin was not was not
Second day.
huh?
Second day. It wouldn't load the second day.
Right. No, but even the first day when it would load it, it wouldn't give me the turn by turn. So I just had the magenta line. And so his would load and give turn by turn. And then it was like 2 days later, mine got turn by turn and his didn't
Yep.
get turn by turn. Then he tried to save his day 2 and that didn't save. I mean, we just had all manner of issues
Yeah,
with
well, I mean, but you've got Tommy who's done that 444 ride where there's no directions and kind of navigate by the stars kind of thing. So,
Well, it's one road.
oh, He-
and is it fair to say you can snap in at the front end and don't have to get out of your pedals into the finish?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're crew supporter, you could just
Mm.
No traffic lights.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to stop for 444 miles.
Sticky bottle for 20 miles.
Yep.
So you did this last year when there was a hurricane or something. Was it Helena? What's it called?
Yeah, Hurricane Helene.
Helene. And then you are going back when?
End of this September
End of
for a
September.
repeat.
Yeah. So hopefully your weather's better. Although it's
Yeah,
still hurricane season, right?
it's
September.
still hurricane season, but that's the reason why I signed up for a repeat because I was hoping not to have a hurricane this time, just to experience it without one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have a power meter, so that headwind won't matter.
Power meter is important because then you can pace yourself in that headwind.
That
That-
20-mile-an-hour headwind for 400 miles.
Because guess what? Your perceived effort is always wrong.
I can believe that.
Hmm.
John, your perceived effort is
Yep.
always wrong.
I completely agree because how many times on Strava, oh dude, I did great today, and what? I'm 3 minutes slower, or I didn't feel anything at all, and you get the PR.
Yeah. So I'm going to beat you guys up on power meters again. If you go to the gym and there's a whole rack of dumbbells sitting there
You
and
talking about
and
the big guys sitting there, or
none of them are marked by how much they weigh. How do you know which one to pick up? How do you know which one of those you can pick up and do a full set of 10? You don't know,
Hmm.
right? Because they all look the same. That's what perceived effort is. You know what a power meter is? That one says 25 pounds. I can pick up that one and I can do a set of 10. That one says 50 pounds. I can do one. That's what a power meter is.
Hmm. The numbers don't lie.
It specifically tells you what effort you are doing right now because the heart rate lags.
Hmm. Hmm.
It could be 10 to 15 seconds before the heart rate catches up to the effort you're doing. Power meter tells you like that instantly that you're pushing 300 watts.
Yeah, or it's the coffee. The heart rate is reading.
300 watts, it tells you instantly
that's the other thing I've been chewing on that because I can't even use a heart rate monitor.
because of his pacemaker, John.
Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
pacemaker. Um,
You have to add that because there's people in the audience that won't
uh,
know.
yeah, because I'm be 100% paced every time I'm paced. It just sends this little weird skew on the heart rate monitor, and it's very inaccurate. It's I guess it's reading the pacing, and the pacing kind of just screws it up.
You know what they need, Tommy? They need a Bluetooth pacemaker that will
I said
talk
that to
to
my doctor.
yeah.
Something I could sync up with my Garmin, and I could
Yeah,
have it right there.
seriously.
Here's the other thing about a power meter. It doesn't give a fuck about your heart rate.
Hmm.
It tells you what effort you're doing, period. Doesn't care if you're dehydrated, doesn't care if you slept well or not, doesn't care if you're stressed about it at work, doesn't it's always going to show you 200 watts if you're
Hmm.
pushing 200 watts on the pedals. The power meter is the most important thing you could ever put on your bike. You see what I'm saying? If you've never used one, you don't understand why it's so. I've been using one since like 2002.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, it's the most important thing that's ever been designed for a bike.
I could tell you while we were riding together, after we synced up your power meter on my Garmin,
Yes,
I left it on there.
yes.
So while we were riding during that 750 miles, I kept looking at that screen and looking at the power output and just watching that and looking at that. I, I mean, I totally agree with you. It's it's definitely my next purchase. I
Yeah.
just haven't decided which one yet.
I'll tell you which one. There's no debating. You ride SPD pedals, right?
Yep.
Okay. What SPD power meters are out there?
Well, Garmin has one.
That's shit.
Um, Stages. Well, I could do a Stages left, and
Stages went out of business. They might be back. Giant bought
uh,
them. I think they're at Eurobike.
okay. Yes, they are back, and they're under that. Yep. Um, I don't know what should I get for an SPD.
I already told you, but you forgot. The
It's
Favero.
an Italian name, and that's why I can't
That's
remember
right.
it.
Mm.
It's the Favero pedals. Yes.
Yep.
SPD, period. There is no question in my mind that's the power meter you should get. Period. It's the best one. It has shit for margins for bike shops, but it works and you don't disappoint your customers. So that's it. Problem solved.
Do you do you carry those?
I don't carry anything. I order
Well,
everything.
do you order those?
Yes, of course, Tommy.
No.
Yes, of
I
course.
just threw it out there for the customers.
What's that?
I just threw it out there for your potential customers that are watching.
You're awesome. Yes, yes, yes. John noticed that you had a Korean Ram
Mhm.
jersey or whatever it was. You want to tell us how you got that?
So, yep, okay, I got enough time, I think. Um, so one of the 1200 Ks I did earlier this year, there was a group of riders from Korea that came and did the 1200K. And at the end of that 1200K, we were sitting around, we had like a little banquet, little dinner, and they didn't speak English very well, like only a few words. In my intent, I had a shirt from my shop back home, and I just thought it would be a nice gesture. There was one guy there that was about my size, and I just thought it would be a nice gesture to give him a shirt to take back to Korea. But I couldn't explain to him that, I didn't need anything or
Mm.
what. But he ended up giving me one of his shirts, and that's where you saw that Korean shirt. So we did like a shirt exchange.
Oh.
And they do this in Ram at PvP as well, because you have all
Mhm.
the people from all these countries and you start exchanging jerseys. So yeah, there's that too. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you